What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of Bunchie Young's route running from this past weekend. Bunchie's a kid that I've been working with for, I would say, maybe a little bit under a year now, and we're going to be kind of comparing and contrasting some good examples and some examples of his route running where he could use some improvement. So I hope this video gives you guys some value. I hope it teaches you some new things about route running and how you guys can always improve your skills. So also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want a 2-month-long daily training schedule with on-field wide receiver drills, check out that very first link in the description below for our 8-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule. It gives you over 200 plus drills, sets and reps, and video examples of each one. So check out that link below if interested. Let's get started. So this first route that we were working here is going to be a slide release into a whip route. Now, the main thing I want to focus on is the break point, right? So we talk a lot about it when you're running routes. And, reason why we show this and the reason why I've kind of held off on, making content about this, because obviously Bunchie's a big name guy. Everybody knows who he is just because we want to make it about the work, right? We don't want to make it about the hype in the off season. You could make all the hype videos, all the quote unquote training videos you want, but at the end of the day, you got to show up and work. And that's what he's done week in and week out. So this kind of video is to just show some progress, right? So when he makes this break point right here, when he starts to drop, you see how when he drops on this inside foot, it's kind of a slower sink of his hips, right? So if I'm running a whip route, that's considered a double move. So when you run a whip, you break to that slant. We're trying to get this DB to drive on this thing, right? We're trying to get him to drive hard. And I got to actually sell the route. And that's what he's doing, right? He's running hard. He's selling full speed. Now, this specific drill, instead of having him break on a specific step, I'm yelling out drop. And when I say drop, he drops his hips and he's trying to get out of this break point. So that's much easier said than done. That is a very, very challenging thing to do. But it's to work on wide receivers not rounding the break point, right? Like if I'm running a whip route and I got a DB and I cut in front of him and he drives, but he starts to see my pad level start to give the whip route away, he's going to sit on the break. So it's just to get us to sell that route until the last possible second. Now, when I do decide to break on this whip route back outside, that break point has got to be violent. It's got to be a quick change of direction because I'm trying to put the brakes on and get out. So when I decide to change direction when I'm running full speed, if it's like kind of a slower sink of my hips like so, you see how he kind of drifts off of this thing, right? He starts to make the break here, and then he ends up maybe about 2 or 3 yards upfield. That like little drift of that break point will have the DB give time to drive on this thing. That gives him time to recover. It has to be a quick change of direction right in the grass. So I'm going to play this thing full speed, and then we're going to show the better example of this route to show you guys the difference. Because when you guys make a change of direction on a whip route, it's got to be a violent change of direction. We can't give the DB any time to recover. So here's the better example. Because when he drops on this one, it's more of an in-place turn. It's not so much about steps, right? When you guys make a break point, whether that's, or when you guys are running a break or making a break on a cut, I should say, or a route, when you guys run a route like a comeback, it's not about the amount of steps that you take. It's about how tight of a direction can I change? How quick can my change of direction be? So when you drop into the break, how we can do that is by having that violent hip drop. So when he drops into this route, watch what his hips do now. It gets low right away. That weight is dropping. That chin is going to that knee. So when he decides to make this break point, you see how he's pretty much staying in place. There can be obviously a little bit of a drift because that's naturally what's going to happen, but it's not a 2 or 3 yard drift upfield. It is a change of direction in place. He's putting the brakes on and he is stopping. There's maybe about a yard of movement right there, and that is what we want because that is what won't give the DB enough time to break. Now, again, you can always get better, you can always improve, but you have to remember that this drill is incredibly hard. You're breaking on a slant and I'm giving a drop call. You have to drop and run the whip route off of my call. Normally on a whip route, it's off of steps. You break off of your outside foot and you take 3 steps, then whip it back out. And those 3 steps to that slant, you know what foot you're breaking off of. So it's a lot easier to make that change of direction. So if we can focus on eliminating wasted movement, dropping my hips on this specific type of a drill, then it's going to make it that much better when we run the whip route. So this is very, very good progress. I love to see this type of progress, especially on the next rep and applying it on the very next rep to get you out of a break quicker. So fellas, anytime that I'm making a break, like a comeback, like a curl, like a whip route, that hip drop, we have to get low right away. We cannot slowly get low because if you're selling the route like we should be, and I'm actually running hard and I have a slow sink of my hips, that's only going to cause you to drift. Let's play this thing again full speed. This is a great job by Bunchie here, making this type of move and then being able to get in and out of this break quick and stopping on a dime with less drift time. All right, so now this specific route right here is going to be a dig route. Now the drill that we are working is we have 6 cones lined up over the top, and then we have about 3 cones right here acting as like kind of a 4-4 linebacker who's like kind of in your face. You kind of have to make a move inside, take an outside release, then run this dig. Now, main thing I want to focus on here is your pad level, or we could treat this like it's a DB who's in man coverage, who's playing head up. So let's watch it full speed. So I want you to pay attention to his pad level right here. So when he's running this route, he kind of gives it away with his pad level. So these 3 cones right here, or these 6 cones, I should say, we're working this like it serves as kind of a, some people call it like an energy lane. I call it just pretty much a lane. You know, like it's just 3 cones, 6 cones that you have to run down the middle of. And it forces you to have to get low with your hips. Now, when people do this, they're so focused on, you know, the right amount of steps. They're so focused on getting out of it quick. And we should be focused on that. But they give away the route with their pad level. So when we're working this route here, he's coming up into the break, but you see how he starts to lean with his hips and with his shoulders towards the break point. Now, let's talk about the situation here. I got a DB who's lined up in head up. That's what these 3 cones are symbolizing. We give a move inside. We're trying to hold him inside, and we take the outside release. So if he's running hip to hip with me, right next to me, going into a break, and he sees my hips and shoulders start to turn inside towards the break like so, where he's leaning here, that gives the route away. That's essentially cheating the route. Because when you start to lean inside like so, that DB, he's going to be all over that because he's watching what? That DB's eyes are going to be on your hips. So we have to focus on keeping my hips and keeping my shoulders vertical and relying on my hip drop to be able to get me out of the break. I don't need to drop, and you see how he's kind of tall at the break point because when you round it and give away the break, it's technically easier to get in and out of the route. But if you can stay committed vertical, your hip drop will naturally have to be more explosive. So let's take a look at this full speed, and then we'll show the next example of where he does keep his hips and shoulders vertical and the improvement on that and how it makes the break look a lot smoother. So let's watch the next one. So this is the opposite side. He gives a move inside, but you see the hips and shoulder difference, and it's a lot smoother of a cut inside. It's actually a hip drop, and he's staying low at the break point to get him out of there. The hips and shoulders turn after we drop my hips. So let's play at full speed. So when he's going up into this break point, you see how he comes off of that move? There's no lean. His shoulders and his hips are committed vertical. That is what will get a DB to overcommit with his hips. When a DB is running right next to you and he's watching your body language, he's trying to read your body language, and you're running hard and your hips and shoulders are committed to the fade, that will get him to bite on every single move. That will get him to overcommit. But when you have that string pull, that hip drop, that gives him less time to react, especially when you can make a quick change of direction, which is what these 6 cones are for, to help you stay sharp on the cut and forces us to get low. So fellas, every route we run, no matter if it's a post, no matter if it's a dig, if it's a comeback, you have to keep your hips and shoulders committed vertically because that is where the DB is looking. Your body language is just as important as you running hard and you running with speed. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Bunchie correcting that pad level, staying vertical, and then letting those hips get him in and out of that break. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this kind of new style of video, kind of helped you guys out, gave you some value, taught you about some things that we could improve on, and just how when you're training, it's not always a glorified thing. Like there are reps where you need to get better on, and then it's all about how you guys handle those reps and how you guys can improve on the next rep to increase your skills and to improve your game. So again, fellas, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate, leave those in the comments section. But also, if you'd like an 8-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.